Welcome to Cactus Crossfire, your go-to for hot takes and prickly debates.
Welcome back to another episode of Cactus Crossfire. I'm your host, S2E3, Beta, and with me, the always dapper, the always full head of hair, Eddie Ablisser. Eddie, how you doing?
S2E3, I'm doing great. Still in Utah, full head of hair so far. Nothing's falling out. I'm trying those men's products, but it's not working as great as it would. But I'm excited. We are back at 8688 Studios. Gabriel Baca, the one man in the world who divides by zero. Good for you, Gabe. Let's go.
Yeah, no, come on, look at Gabe. So, Eddie, what's been going on in your neck of the woods? I mean, to this episode, we teed it up last time. We have a very special guest, somebody that you've known for quite some time. And so who do we got with us, Eddie?
Guest. Oh, I'm so excited to have one of my favorites, and I probably should say my favorite city council person in the entire country of America, the one and only Berdetta Hodge. She not only is the Tempe City Councilwoman, but she is also spends her time serving on the Tempe Union High School Governing Board. And holy hell, why the heck do you do that too? I don't know, but she does both. She does both, S2E3. And I've known her for a very long time. I invited her on the podcast to come and talk, but she asked to promise no crazy stories about my antics back in the days. She signed that NDA. She signed that NDA. Can't talk about it.
Mum's the word. Mum's the word.
So, Councilwoman, we're so excited to have you. Thank you for joining the Cactus Crossfire podcast.
Well, I'm excited to be here.
Oh, this is so exciting for me. So, why don't you just sort of start off? Tell us a little bit more about yourself. I know your history. I know the amazing things you do, but our audience doesn't. And so I'd love for you to share a little bit about your background, what got you excited about getting involved in politics, and what keeps you going, because you and I both know politics is not fun. And oftentimes it feels like, what am I doing? But you're running for re-election, which we're thrilled that you are as well. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, thank you so much. And, I have to say that you're my favorite legislator. Always will be. He gave my son one of his first jobs in politics. So I'm excited and happy to be here.
Well, thank you. That means a lot.
Yes. Well, as Eddie was telling you, I'm on the city council, but I actually started as a governing board member. I've actually been on Tempe Union for 10 years now. And this is going into my 11th year on Tempe Union. And I realized that education is where my base is at. That's where that's my foundation. And realizing how much the council, how much the governing board needs the city. And that's the reason why in 2021, I took the plunge to run for 2022 city council and took that seat. And I've been on it for 4 years, and just realizing I was like, while I was there on council and school board, I actually was appointed to Biden's education task force. And I was on that for the last couple of years and continue to be on it. I have another 2-year term on there. I'm also a commissioner for the governor of African American Affairs.
That's great. And I can't wait for when you decide to run for governor, because I'll be there cheering you on, Berdetta.
I don't know. I think that might be my son there. I think that might be Devin.
We'll see. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. And did you grow up in Tempe?
I sure did. Yeah. I grew up in Tempe. I went to all Tempe elementary schools, and I went off to Tempe High and then over to ASU.
And so there's a street called Baseline.
Yes.
And everyone from Tempe is like, well, that was it. There was Baseline and nothing else.
That was it.
That was it. Oh,
mm-hmm.
Man. The days of old Arizona, when well before what it looks like today. So we're thrilled. We're thrilled that you've decided to run for re-election, and your service is going for another 4 years. I want to ask you a little bit more, because you're in a unique position. Councilwoman, you have the ability to influence policy changes both in at the high school level, this new generation of young workers who are entering our economy, and we need training. And then as a councilwoman, leading the city, helping to grow the economy and invest in our great city of Tempe. What are some of the initiatives that you're working on that parlay both roles and really produces probably some tremendous outcomes. What are some of the things you're working on?
Well, right now, I'm excited to talk to you about this. It's called Tempe Drive. And with that, I'm working with all 3 school districts, Tempe, Kyrene, and Tempe Union, ASU, and the city of Tempe, to make sure it's a smooth transition between elementary, because we're not all one school district. We have multiple school districts in our city, to make sure K through 8 smoothly runs into runs into the high school. It actually runs right into ASU if they want to continue on that, and also into the workforce. So I think that it's a platform we're building. We're building a foundation for our students. And, Ed, Tempe is a place that your kids, you went to the same schools, your grandparents went to that school, your cousins, people around the corner. So we want to make sure we keep that hometown feel.
Oh, and it really is a hometown feel. I mean, anyone from Tempe knows we are landlocked, right? So we have this really pretty flower that talks about the beauty of what Tempe is, because you can't really grow out. There's really nowhere else to go. So you grow up and you redevelop the spaces that you have in this amazing city. But it is in the middle of everything. If you want to get East Valley to Central Phoenix to West Valley, you have to go through Tempe. Tempe is in the middle. And much of what you have done is tremendous, because I think the young population that's growing up in Tempe needs opportunities. They want to stay home, right? Yeah. They want to engage. And I think those investments that you're making. Talk to me a little bit about student safety. I mean, this is one of the things that I know has challenged, teachers and parents, frankly, sending their kids off. You had 2 boys go through the Tempe School District. Student safety is always a tough situation. And what we saw across the nation, you've done some really pretty amazing things to make sure our kids are safe in Tempe.
I did. I've been working on some initiatives that are dear to my heart. Like everybody knows what happened with Sandy Hook. And a lot of the school districts around the country is doing a Sandy Hook promise, to make sure that we're proactive. We make bringing safety, and it's not just physical safety, it's emotional safety. It's everything included in that box. So it's only been one city in the whole United States that actually took that on as a city, and that's Sandy Hook, where the Sandy Hook actually happened. City of Tempe is now the 2nd city, and I ran that initiative to have Sandy Hook promise as a city. And what that means is we partner with all of our school districts to make sure we give all the resources we can and as much support as we can to our school districts when it comes around safety. So that is one thing I'm very proud of. I've actually been around different cities trying to promote it and get more cities involved in it. So it is a good thing. So I'm excited about that. And
it's a great thing, and honestly, we talk on this podcast, we talk in policy outside of the conversations we have on these dialogues. Mm-hmm. It matters. Parents are terrified about what happens to their kids. At the end of the day, this is real, and people are scared, and kids are scared. So thank you, Councilwoman.
Also, that what happened with the Gilbert Goons and with Preston Lord, it got us to start thinking about what we do about brass knuckles in our cities. And so Tempe came out. I pioneered for the brass knuckles ordinance to make sure that it doesn't matter. You can be 0 to 299. We have outlawed brass knuckles in our city, and it really came full circle to me, because we did at one of my high schools have a kid who did not die from it, but got hit with brass knuckles and fractured, a jaw and part of his skull. So it's just another step in making sure that our kids are safe. And I'm just honored that I had colleagues who believed in me and believed in the mission to pass the brass knuckle 702.
Oh, wonderful. That's phenomenal policy. And for those listeners that aren't familiar with the Gilbert Goons, this is a tragic and horrifying story that really came out of this group of kids who felt that they were untouchable and decided that they were going to assert not just bullying, but I mean, it is awful bullying, but it is assault, it is aggression, and the intimidation and loss of life, right? Like that ultimately happened. And I believe many of those young men are being held accountable for their actions. But for a while, there was concern that because of their status, because of their more elite background, they were circumventing some of the criminal justice processes. And so good on the prosecutors going after those folks. And honestly, it comes up to lawmakers that have courage like you, Councilwoman, that could put forth policies that really establish the precedent of safety for our kids, because that's the most important thing in education. So thank you for that. There's something else you're working on. And, one of our podcasts, I'm out here in Utah right now, and Utah up and down this, the corridor, the I-15 has what's called Google Fiber. And for the most of these cities, and it's excellent, right? And one of Steve, in my podcast, we had some trouble because it was going in and out. And they're like, Eddie, you're freezing. I'm like, it's not me. It's not me. I got Google Fiber out here, yo. Like, it's you guys with the nice dial-up, internet out in Albuquerque. But talk to me about what you're going to do for businesses in Tempe, because I'll tell you, that's a game changer. If you guys can get Google Fiber in Tempe, game changer. I don't know any business who'd want to plant their flag in Mesa, Chandler, Gilbert, Scottsdale, or anywhere else but Tempe, because that technology infrastructure is incredible. Talk to me about it.
Well, myself and Councilmember Randy Keating are working on that together. We've been working on it for the last almost 3 years on getting Google Fiber. We're in our last project of actually getting it and having them start digging and put it down. It's been that we have like maybe one large company that has been the overseer of it. And now we're giving our businesses a chance to, they have an opportunity to use another service, a choice. But also, Google Fiber also wants to work within our school districts, because another big thing is that our schools, more and more kids are relying on laptops in their classrooms. It's not used to be that it used to be about kids writing on boards. Now they're sitting in their desks in front of a laptop. And this has been an issue about how do we keep the internet service going as fast as the technology is. So this will also help in all aspects from our business community, our regular neighbors, have that choice. And then our schools. So I'm excited for this to come.
Oh, I love it. So what is it going to take? What's the city council? When are they taking up this vote?
I've already approved it. So we're now in the production side of it.
Oh, right on. That's awesome, Councilwoman. Great work. Sisto, do you guys have Google Fiber out there in Albuquerque?
Google who? Google who?
Yeah,
No, we don't have Google Fiber. We are a little bit slower on the uptake as far as that type of infrastructure is, Eddie. We're kind of sometimes you might think that we're still using a can and a string in some parts of our state, so we're working on it. But
we got to talk to Mayor Keller. We got to hold him. Come on, Mayor.
Well,
step it up. Let's get Albuquerque on the fiber.
I just need more councilwomen like Councilwoman Hodge to come out and explain how easy it can be to get this done in your communities. A lot of these initiatives that she's talking about are things that being your neighbor in New Mexico, the fun part is that we hear what's over the fence happening on our next door neighbor's backyard, and usually that makes its way over to our side pretty quickly. But like I'm always teasing Eddie about the cultural exchange between New Mexico and Arizona. We've sent you a governor, we've sent you a mayor. I can't. But you guys get to keep all the fiber and all the cool stuff. So I don't understand it, Eddie. We got to work that out.
Well, and let's not forget. Go ahead.
I was going to say, hey, I promise. When we're at the League of Cities in March, I'll put a little whisper in your mayor's ear.
Let him know. Let him know that and he'll be watching. So I'll make sure I forwarded it to him over text, Councilwoman. That you'll be looking.
Councilwoman knows something else that New Mexico sent over to Tempe. It's West Mesa, East Tempe, but it's Los Dos Molinos. It is the new Mexican food restaurant, and it is amazing. That's the one I tell you that I start sweating beads of sweat down my forehead just by eating the food. It's ridiculous. Anyway, moving on. Councilwoman, one thing that I remember my history in Tempe, but I want to hear what's going on with the homeless population, because homelessness is real, right?
Yes,
and I'm going to set it up. I could be a little bit more blunt on this, because I'm not seeking re-election, but we need people like you to address homelessness in a rational, reasonable way, and we need your voice to advocate, because honestly, sometimes we get blinded by a little bit of our heart that people are hurting, but we don't give them the actual tools to help them get better, right? Most I think it was 95% of individuals struggling with homelessness in a day-to-day operative function have some level of mental illness at an extreme rate that is unattended to. And so, Councilwoman, what's happening with homelessness in Tempe?
I think that you're right. I think if we don't get to the root cause, you can feed them, you can give clothing, but if we don't get to the root cause, they'll be right back in the same spot. So I think that one thing I want to make sure that people understand is Tempe we don't want to criminalize it. So the reason why we came up with bringing back our park rangers to actually be in our parks, because they're not about the criminal activity of it. They're more about education and trying to connect them to the right resources. And we have our Care 7 and our Hope team that goes out and work with our park rangers. So it's not just a criminal offense. Like, in the past, the police were the only option we had to call. Now we have a line of defense in there with the park rangers. And that's been helping, and they build relationships. So a lot of it is that they have to trust the people that they're talking to. And they seem to trust the park rangers a lot. I've been out several times with them, and the park rangers know people by name. They know they know exactly where they come from, and try to get them, because it takes a little bit of time to build that relationship for them to trust you to come in to even get to the services. So I think that's what Tempe does. And I think it's a great program that we're doing with that.
There was a church on a corner. I think it was like 5th and Ash. And there was a home that they rented out from that area. And at one point, I got involved, and we did homeless feedings out of the church. People would come to church. And then, Councilwoman, we started allowing individuals to sleep in the back. Listen, I was a junior in college, Councilwoman. I didn't know, but the church got broken into. The church was vandalized. We ended up having to call law enforcement. What the hell are you doing? You have homeless encampments in our backyards and the alleyways. Perhaps not the best choice, because it really didn't solve the underlying problem of homelessness at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of well-intended individuals. The parks in Tempe are in neighborhoods. You have homes all around it, and then you have a nice neighborhood park right in the middle of it. So homeless encampments are sort of troublesome, frankly, because you have families, kids, everyone moving. And, we can't forget the history of Arnold v. Sarn, right? This was a situation where someone with an extreme mental illness was not getting treated. And there was some death that occurred afterwards, and they sued the state and said this person should have been treated. Anyhow, we hear stories like this everywhere. Councilman, sounds like you guys are putting forth a very aggressive and reasonable plan. Is there pushback?
There's quite a bit. There's quite a bit of pushback.
Oh.
One thing I'll also say, not only is it just in the neighborhood, it's joined mostly into our schools, our elementary schools too. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the kids, when they walk to school, they go through the parks. Yep. So we have to also thinking that we're protecting our most vulnerable population as our youth, our children. And we get a lot of pushback. People are saying, because we're looking at ordinance to make everyone safe. And I'm not going to just say just the people who have house, unsheltered, sheltered, whatever. We want to make sure everybody is safe. We get pushback, and people are saying you're you're anti-homeless, you're anti-unsheltered, which is not true. The fact of the matter is that we have to look at a holistic approach of how do we protect every citizen in our neighborhoods to make sure everyone is safe. Make sure, who's to say that unsheltered person doesn't get attacked in one of our parks. So we got to make sure that we make, clear rules and guidelines that can protect and serve every single population.
Yeah, advocates don't seem to understand that root cause, right, of unhoused, homeless. I'm not quite sure the vernacular these days. And I have a background in working with individuals with mental illness. Cecil, you and I talked about this, that what's going on across this country. We throw Band-Aids on, a severed arm. And, Eddie, that's going to help.
The great thing that we have is we've got someone here like the councilwoman who's talking about innovations that are happening in municipalities across the country. You have your Hope service officers that are going out there and working with your park rangers to help de-escalate situations in those communities, and at the same time, not giving up on them just because they are unhoused. But at the same time, you're tiptoeing is the balance between the needs of the community versus the needs of individuals who are part of the community. They're often unseen because of their status of being unhoused. I wanted to ask you about this, a designation of being one of the first in the city council there. The first African American woman, I'm sure, not the last. There will probably be many more behind you.
No.
That probably puts you in a different type of a position than, say, some of your other counterparts of your approach to how you look at these things and through that lens. So can you talk about that a little bit of how that affects your approach in regards to these types of issues that you've been dealing with?
It really does. It comes full circle for me, because if, say, it's something to do with police, automatically, because I'm an African American woman with African American sons, I'm supposed to be anti-police.
Yes.
And I don't believe that's not, you can't go and actually be an elected official, especially in city council, and be anti-police or anti-safety. The scenario is we need to do more trainings. We need to have more, bring in the communities together, the ones that feel like they are siloed from, like more of the African American, Hispanics, Native Americans, bring them more into the community, more relationships. And that's some of the things we work with our city, is we bring like nonprofits in that kind of brings people together. We have at our high schools, it's called FIT, and FIT works with the Tempe police, and they bring Tempe police police officers in, and they do training with the kids. They mentor them. They talk about what's going on in their lives, and they actually build relationships. And that's one thing we, as a city, I think that should be something that we concentrate on, is building relationships and building up the trust that has been initially, especially with the media. Everything is highlighted with the media. If one thing happens in an African American community with the police, it takes trust. It takes us years to bring that trust back.
Yep.
So what we need to do is try to build those relationships so strong that we can say, it's sad what's happening here, but that's not our culture in Tempe. So working within the community, nonprofits, our police department, fire department, and city, and school districts to try to build that in with the youth. It's
a wonderful and beautiful thing to hear you talk about how people of color don't necessarily all think that defunding the police is the right issue, or being anti-police. Activists that are out there and around me that are saying, you're not being loyal enough to the community because of your support of law enforcement. And I grew up in a place where we actually respected it. I grew up in a very small rural town here in New Mexico where I actually knew the sheriff by name. And I would see him at the local store, and we would have conversations. And when I was out acting a fool and I was speeding around town, it wasn't that I was immediately getting a ticket, but believe you me, he was calling my dad at the end of the day and letting him know, hey, your kid's running a little fast out there. You might want to hold on to those keys for a while. And I think that those are the types of things that even though Tempe is a big city, you're talking about the types of things of bringing in those law enforcement officers into the high schools and and creating that trust amongst those kids, which makes you a very interesting dynamic in the world, because you're coming from the education side of all that experience you had as a trustee for your boards of education, and coming in and from the city council side and connecting those two dots. And I mean, that must be an amazing experience for you to do, and to be able to come to the city council and say, how come you guys are taking so long to catch up to what we already knew in our school districts? Because that's where you see all the problems really start, right?
Exactly. And I think that's what part I play a lot is when we did a survey, and this is what I think people don't understand. We did a survey about SROs because a few years ago they were going to take out, does everybody know what SRO is?
Student Resource Officer.
Yes. Safety resource officer or student? Which one?
No, it's safety.
Safety resource. Yeah.
So we had SROs, and we had a group of people who told us that we shouldn't, because we were harming our students by having a armed police officer in their schools. So for me, I, as a mother, I look at it another way. I look at it as we haven't got the niche on what's causing school shooting. I don't feel safe if my child doesn't have somebody there that can protect from school shootings. You can't teach a dead child. So at this point, we have to be proactive on that. But another part that Tempe does that's different from other cities is that when they hire an SRO, they interview them within the community. So our students get a chance to meet them. They get a chance to feel of it. It's like a person that they pick from that area, and they become more a part of the culture of the family. So the SROs become a part of the faculty to them. They're not just police on itself. They are a trusted adult on the campus that that they're on. And that's one thing that Tempe does well. They go to the regular training with schools. They with the teachers. They coach. They do a lot of things that make them integrate into the city, into the school districts. So I think that it's the approach we bring to our community.
And SROs, how long have you had SROs in Tempe now?
Oh, it's probably been over 20 years.
Yeah. So we were right around the same time as you of getting those here in Albuquerque and in New Mexico. And a lot of the stuff that you're talking about were a lot of the same things that we had as challenges of whether or not they should be armed or not. We had that debate here in New Mexico and in Albuquerque. The one thing that we have learned from our SROs, and I'm not sure if this is what's happening with you in Tempe, is that you're able to start identifying some of those students that just may fall through the cracks a little bit sooner than before, and that are going to need to be uplifted in some way within the system, rather than, just expelling them from the school as them being problematic and then them out in the streets causing bigger problems.
Our SROs have restorative justice. So they go to restorative justice. If they get in some kind of trouble, a minor trouble at the school, they actually go to restorative justice so they don't get into the criminal system. They can work it through the police department itself, and, to build that. So at 18, these kids are not going out with a record. So I agree with you. I think that we just have to find unique ways to make sure that our safety of our kids doesn't take away the safety of their mental health, and also, just continue to build on that. And I think that our SROs do a phenomenal job with that.
Can't say enough how much I appreciate the work you are doing in one of my most favorite cities in the entire world. I miss all my great friends and
miss you too.
All the amazing people that have made Tempe such a wonderful place. And I know you are a huge part of that equation to make Tempe even better. And I think each person that has gone into Tempe has invested in it and left it better than when they first got in. And so, I'm interested, we're going to wrap up here, Councilwoman. There's a couple really cool things about Tempe that you and I know, and some folks that listen to the podcast, but I want to hear, what's your favorite Tempe restaurant? Where do
Lush.
You guys go?
Lush. My favorite Tempe restaurant is in South Tempe. It's called Lush, and I love it. And the cupcakes.
You're not going to do the Monty's La Casa Vieja?
Monty's, they have closed.
Oh. What happened? Have I not been?
Councilwoman, I think you just.
In how many years, you still? What the hell's going
Eddie
on
just
with Tempe? Where's Monty's?
Councilwoman, you can come on this show anytime because you made Eddie breathless. I haven't seen him breathless on the show ever.
House of Tricks? Is House of Tricks still around?
No, House of Tricks is actually closed too.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, the Tricks family wanted to retire, and they wanted to retire the restaurant.
They're not allowed to. They're not allowed.
That's what we have done with House of Tricks. A little tidbit of information. We have restored it. We brought it into our compound of the downtown city hall, and we're going to make it an ice cream shop. So,
oh yes, I love it. All right, I'll visit there when I come into town.
You have to come visit.
Okay. Can you tell me what's your favorite neighborhood association? I mean, I had my own, but can you say it, or are you like, Eddie, I'm running for re-election? I mean, they're all my favorite.
I can say one of my favorites. It's not
one of the favorites because you love them all.
I love them all. Shalimar.
And you love Shalimar.
Shalimar, yes. The reason why I love Shalimar is because they just recently lost their golf course, and I've never seen a neighborhood band together in a positive way to try to hold on to what they feel is, the niche of their community. So I admire the Shalimar neighborhood in their community.
And talk about a local issue. I mean, that golf course has been an issue in Tempe for years and years and years. Dick Neuheisel lived out there, and that was the thing, and former council member. And wow, Shalimar. I would still go back to Maple Ash. I love my folks at Maple Ash. I lived in Maple Ash. There's so much fun. But okay. All right. Who's your favorite? And when I like old time Tempe, like the old time Tempes, you and I know who are talking about, the old settlers, right? They do all that stuff. Who's someone that comes to mind? One of your top favorites. I've got mine. You like Harry Mitchell? Okay.
You want to know why I like Harry Mitchell? Not only everybody looks at it because he was a council member and a mayor, and he was a state senator, and then he went to be a congressman. None of that affects me. What I love about Harry Mitchell is because he was my teacher. So he teach me government. He was one of the main people who got me embodied in what I'm doing right now. So that's why I always say Harry Mitchell.
Well, that's a good answer. You're gonna have to listen to the episode we did prior to this to get context because I was dishing some tea. But I will say my favorite old-time Tempe, Joe Spichelli.
Oh, yes. I love
can't.
Kelly too.
Oh, that guy. You would see him and he just embraced you. He was the kindest,
yes.
the most encouraging. There was nothing.
Yes.
You could say the dumbest thing to him and he'd smile, look at you, and say, "Keep going."
Can I make you laugh about
Yes.
one quick story about Joe Spichelli? We were at his wife's memorial. And Dick Neuheitzer got up and started talking. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna miss Joseph Bailey. That poor that poor. I won't say the word, but and I'm gonna miss him and this and that." And he goes, "Yeah, we didn't get along all the time, but I really will miss him." And then he sits down and Joe stands up. He goes, "Excuse me, I'm still alive, Dick. I know you're at my wife's funeral." He said, "Save those messages when I'm gone, but I'm still here."
He's amazing. Yeah. Okay. My last question for you, and then we're going to end on our spicy, prickly takes, hot takes that our councilwoman's going to leave us. But okay, Jevin Hodge, Jason Hodge, Eddie Albiser. Who's your favorite son?
Oh, definitely Eddie.
All right, there we go.
Where did he send the check to for that one, Councilwoman?
Right. Jevin and Jason, you heard it first. You boys, always know, gentlemen.
I'm just going to tell you, boys, Mom got a check. You're going to have a great meal tonight at Lush with Mom.
All right, so lead us into something.
Thank you, Councilwoman, for stopping in. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
We are going to move into our hot takes, which is tell me something spicy, tell me something prickly, and tell me something quickly. So, Eddie, what are your spicy, prickly, quickly takes?
Okay, my spicy take. I cannot believe Monty's Lacoste has gone. I mean, this is earth-shattering news for me, and for everyone who's listening to this podcast is probably thinking you have not been to Tempe for 5 or 10 years or whatever. But this was a legend of an establishment on the banks of the Tempe Town Lake, essentially the old river across from the mill that they tried to tear down. This historic lineage of Carl Hayden and the ferry that went across the river.
Okay.
Monty's La Casa was such a historic place. So I'm a little spicy on that. So I'm going to have to find some New Mexican food. And next time I'm in Arizona, go visit Los Dos Molinos so I can get a little sweaty Sisto. But that's my spicy take. My prickly take is, you know what? Listen, all you haters in Tempe, stop it. Come on. What is going on with Tempe? You've got this amazing leader in serving on the Tempe Union High School Governing Board, serving on Tempe City Council. You're not making money doing any of this. What you're doing is investing your heart and soul into doing something good. And then these people that I know they care, but they're doing it the wrong way. And so all of my good friends in Tempe, my prickly take to you is chill out. Come on, people. You all got to take a chill pill and recognize you got an amazing leader here in Councilwoman Hodge. So get to the polls and vote for her. And something quickly that I'm going to say is, Sisto, it's been a great session. Councilwoman Hodge, my quickly take is everyone go online, hodgefortempe.com. Is that the right website?
Hodge for Tempe, yep.
There it is. And donate. You like someone that you care about. You like what you're hearing. The best way to support good public policy is donating to their campaigns.
Thank you.
Those are my takes. Sisto, what are your takes?
So something spicy is that New Mexico chili season is almost upon us. We're going to start heading out to the fields here pretty soon and tilling up the ground and putting out some new spicy chili. So we will be having our planting season to just be ready by August of next year. And the fun part will be is we will withhold more water from Texas to water that chili so we can get it out to people. And I don't think anybody's going to be upset about it. Something
prickly.
Something prickly. We just passed a bill here in the New Mexico legislature that is in regards to immigration reform. A lot of folks are going to say that we're trying to shut down and get rid of jobs and corrections and everything else. I think people are going to be surprised when they start looking into the bill and seeing how it's really just going to be some guardrails for how we house immigrants for ICE in New Mexico, and isn't going to be leading to a lot of jobs leaving the state. And my quickly, the councilwoman, I will be approaching your city for a $400,000 appropriation to buy the Breaking Bad house here in Albuquerque, so that we could do a sister cities program between Tempe and New Mexico you can house people at our Breaking Bad home, Walter White's house. You can rent it out to put more money into programs that are going to help the wonderful people of Tempe. So that's my quickly take. Councilwoman, do you want to join us in having a spicy, prickly, and quickly take?
Something spicy. What's spicy to me is that Green Bay is not in the playoffs. I mean, they should be in the Super Bowl. That's my favorite team. There's no reason for us not to have won that. I'm very spicy about that. I'm upset. And the prickly part is I'm still gonna think about why is Green Bay not in the discussion. I mean, it's taking at me because I gotta watch another football Super Bowl without the cheeseheads.
Yep.
And something quick is this is the 100th year of Black History Month. So happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month.
Happy
Thank
Black
you,
History.
Councilwoman.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
And you're going to be sad during the Super Bowl. Sisto's going to be sad because his Tampa Bay Buccaneers aren't in the Super Bowl. But guess what? We got Drake May. Drake May all the way. Let's go, everyone. All right. It's been Cactus Crossfire. It's been great having you, Councilwoman.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Follow us, like us on social media, cactuscrossfire.com. You can find us on all the socials. Sisto's doing his talk and walks on TikTok. Follow him. Until next time, it's been great. Councilwoman, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace.